Hello and welcome back to Summer Game Fest 2026. I am here with some of the developers from ESO. Gentlemen, would you mind introducing yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Nick Giacomini, the game director for the Elder Scrolls Online.
And I'm Jason Barnes, Associate Design Director on Elder Scrolls Online.
Guys, Elder Scrolls Online has been out for quite a while now. It's 12 years, is that right?
That's right, 12 years, yeah.
12 years, we are approaching retro game territory. There's a bunch of 20-somethings out there who are like, I remember playing this game in elementary school or middle school. How are we feeling about that?
Yeah, it's actually something we talk about quite a lot, right? Where people, when they started playing, are at a different life stage, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that's really important to us, and how we're approaching development right now, actually, is to try to meet our players where they are, because we have players, not just that remember playing it, but who have been actively playing the game for 12, 11, 10, 9 years. And, circumstances changes, like different life stage. And so we've recently actually completely changed we're in a period of like massive evolution right now. Been going for 12 years. We want at least another 12. We've stated that we want to be a 30-year-old game, which is, it's crazy. Yeah, but we're almost at the halfway mark. But in order to do it, exactly, right? Like things have changed so much in the last 10 years in terms of player expectations, in terms of where they are in their life right now. And so we are trying to meet players where they are and provide them what they're hoping for and what they need and want from us as developers to, make it so that Elder Scrolls Online continues to be their home, for the next decade or two.
So in what ways have you been getting feedback from players, and you would like to meet that feedback with these new updates coming to ESO?
I think a big thing right now is that, in MMOs in particular, like they lend themselves to being games that you inhabit more than a lot of games, right? Elder Scrolls Online is massive. It's in the name of the genre, right? There are thousands of hours of content, of gameplay that players can just immerse themselves in, and so for many players, including for us, it's a home. If it's going to be, our players' home, they should have a say in how that home is built. And that's been a really major focus for us right now. We were traditionally using this chapter model for a long time. It's an expansion model where, every year, new zone comes out, right? New story, and it was very consistent. But 12 years later, it didn't really allow us to address a lot of foundational things that were important to our community that came through, because it was this massive all hands on deck commitment for 2 years, and it left limited capacity for the team to focus on a lot of what our players were asking for beyond just making the game larger. They're foundational things, right? When you think about MMOs 20 years ago, 10 years ago compared to today, and look at all the incredible games that are coming out, it required us to invest heavily in the foundation. If we want to be relevant, if we want this to be a home for the next 10, 20 years, you don't just add rooms to the house, right? It's like you address the foundation.
Yes.
And so this year we switched our model to be a seasonal model, which is less of this massive monolith that we would release every single year, and way more flexible. And it's allowed us to do so much that's happening and is going to be happening over the course of the next few years, foundationally, in addition to still providing new rooms, new zones that players love and expect from us. But we are doing an overhaul of classes right now, visually and mechanically.
Wow.
We just released the Dragon Knight a few months ago. Werewolf came out today. Yep. And the Warden. Thank you. Yeah,
of course.
The Warden is coming out really soon. We have fixed just a ton of friction points and pain points that players have been asking us to fix, and a lot more to come. Like, we raised furnishing limits for our robust housing system. That was a major source of feedback for us. Respecs are now free and just able to do in the UI to allow players to explore, experiment more and things like that. And that is just 2 examples of a very long list of things that we're finally able to address foundationally to make the game, more modern, respect players' time better, and allow us to develop the Elder Scrolls Online that our players want from us. In addition to that, we are releasing new content. Thieves Guild is coming out in Season 1 in just a month, so that's very iconic, very Elder Scrolls. but we're doing it in a different way and allowing players to experience the content in new ways. So we have a lot of new content systems that are coming, like a favor system, the rumor system, which is kind of like scavenger hunts, the Sage's Vault, which is like a puzzle, like dungeon-like experience that's going to allow players to experience content in ways that they never have before. Dynamic encounters is this new kind of system where it makes the world feel more alive, where something may just happen, like a barn gets set on fire, and you want to go put it out, and it makes the game feel more alive. And these are systems that are going to allow players to experience the game in a brand new ways and allow us to build upon it going forward. So it's a really interesting time right now, and a lot of it is because we are 12 years old, and we want this game to continue to be home for players for decades to come. And so we're changing right now to make that happen.
I mean, guys, it's a massive undertaking maintaining an MMO for 12 years. When you add something new, it breaks something else, and you need to fix that. Would you mind just going into detail and letting us know some of the issues you've ran into and how you have fixed those issues?
Yeah, so a little bit of background on me too is I've been with the company for going on 18 years now, and I've been on Elder Scrolls Online the entire time. So I've been able to see it from like pre-production stages to like our early beta, and then actually launching and everything like that. And we did a similar change early on where we launched and we decided that we were going to make it more Elder Scrolls. And so we released an update called 1 Tamriel, which removed a lot of like level restrictions. It allowed you to go wherever you want it. We added a new justice system, so you could pickpocket and sneak around, and there was like a bounty and all that you could get. So I've been around to see like some of these massive changes and kind of all the building blocks and where we stumble. So since then, this is definitely the biggest shift that we've done in ESO's history. So having some of that knowledge luckily helps us out, because we do have a lot of veterans at the company who did also go through that. And I think the biggest difference for us is we were in what we call the chapter model. It was like a big, what you would expect, like a big expansion pack every year. It put a lot of just commitment and time from the team, and that was your full focus. And so you essentially had this giant cinder block that was all this big package, and you could chop off little pieces and move them around, but essentially it was one big thing that you just continuously pushed forward. With the new model and being a lot more flexible and agile and being able to adjust based off of like player feedback and wanting to do a billion different things all at once, it's more like having a bunch of chess pieces that you can move in and out off the board at any time. And so you're doing a lot more smaller, more intricate systems, and you're gonna have stumbles sometimes because there's a lot more pieces and interconnectivities. It just sometimes something's, oh crap, that got missed because that was the new 30th thing that we were adding or adjusting. We've got our footing. We are moving in like a really solid direction. The team's doing awesome, but you will have a couple stumbles like that, and we'll let the community know, right? Like, oh yeah, you know what? We messed up on this, we're going to fix this is how we're going to do it, and things like that. So we're not going to be perfect, but the team has a strong foundational knowledge of like how the game works and how these updates work. And so I think just going forward, we are equipped as a team to be able to handle these type of big changes, but there's always going to be growing pains, there's going to be learning things, but it's an exciting opportunity. And because of this shift to seasonal content and just the new model, like there's also a like refreshed reinvigoration of the team and like excitement of like, hey, we're gonna get to try a bunch of new things after doing the same thing for so long. There's more pros than cons, because it's just mostly like, hey, how does this all work? How do we get this footing so we can get this on a regular cadence? But we've already got a lot of that figured out, and so we're set on the right path.
Yeah, it sounds to me like with this new model, it gives you guys more opportunities to experiment.
Absolutely.
Right? You're saying that before you used to just push things out in one big block and you'd see how it is, and I guess you'd have to wait until the next big block, right?
Yeah, a lot of times we were in the middle of the next big block
Right.
when we would get the feedback, right?
Yeah.
Because it was such a cadence. It was like, well, we're committed to this, and now we're already working on the next chapter, so
Yeah.
players would be like, hey, we don't like how this works, or these classes don't feel up to date, or this system is broken, or there's this, right? And we would hear it and we'd be like, yeah, we agree. But we were already committed. All of our schedule is already booked up. We were dedicated. And we just, like, we had some flexibility. I don't want to say that we could never pivot, because we did do a lot of those shifts, but we just didn't have as many opportunities to do that. So part of the seasonal model really was saying, listen, we're opening this thing up. We're going to move things around. Things are going to get adjusted. There's even going to be times where we release like an early roadmap, and then we add stuff to it based off of player feedback. We have something called the Class Mastery system, which is going in today. And that was a system that we didn't even have on our roadmap. It was just, we were talking to players about, like, here's all the things coming, and they gave us some feedback based off of a system we put in the game called subclassing, and they said, hey, we'd really like for you to address it. And so the team got together and said, this is a priority. Let's get this on the table. And within a couple months, the team worked their butts off, and they were able to create this really cool system, and now it's coming out. And that wasn't something we could do before.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I so appreciate it. Would you like to let everyone know when they can expect to receive these updates for Elder Scrolls Online?
Yeah, absolutely. So the new PvP progression system, the class mastery system, the new Vengeance game mode, some much needed quality of life improvements have already come out. They just came out. Starting on July 8th, a Season 1 launch is where players will get to experience our new Thieves Guild content. So new storyline involving the Thieves Guild, in addition to a suite of new content systems like rumors, like favors, like dynamic encounters, like the Sage's Vault, all on July 8th. Shortly after that, another storyline involving Sheogorath is going to be coming out just a few weeks later. High Seas of Tamriel is coming out in just a few months. Brand new event involving, seas, naval battles, underwater combat, and things like that. And then just a month-ish after that, solo dungeons are coming, our first solo dungeons in the game, where players can take on traditionally grouped dungeon content solo with multiple difficulties, unique rewards. And then, we're going to be going to Skyrim again, to a new place that we haven't explored before in our game. And that is coming early next year, but players might start to experience some things leading up to that toward the end of the year. So a lot is going to be happening.
Well, thank you guys. It sounds like you have a lot on your plate, so I'm going to let you guys get back to work. Thank you again for taking the time, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.